Episode 25, The Scarlet Paladin. We begin on Celeria, as the Palace of Tartarus floats across the seas of Celeria. Selina quickly checks the Legendarium, reassuring herself that the Winx are contained within. Acheron catches her off guard, saying that she's needed for their next step. Hesitantly, Selina follows into the throne room, where the other rivers of the underworld await. They express curiosity as to how the magical universe has changed since their imprisonment in the Legendarium world, with Phlegethon even wanting to destroy the book, which has Selina worried. Acheron stops him, saying that both the Legendarium and its current owner can still help in their cause. Cocytus doubts that, especially sensing the sadness and regret in Selina's heart. Acheron says it's those woes that make her so valuable. In any case, the rivers have one goal: to return the magical universe to its perceived former glory. Celeria's conquest ended shortly after the destruction of Selenia, and now the rivers seek to use the light of Celeria to purify the magical universe. To do so, they will need the power of the second son of Celeria. Elsewhere, the Company of Light and Specialists gather at the Celerian Royal Palace, as Luna anticipated it would be the river's next target. While the other professors have taken to returning the colleges back to magics, leaving repairs in Alfea to after the crisis, Farragonda, Griffin, and Saladin, along with Brandon's squad, yes, including Nex, have caught Radius up on recent events. Radius is in utter disbelief, refusing to believe Stella could have fallen. Everyone is still clearly distraught over the apparent fate of the Winx, but Griffin asserts that they need to focus on stopping the rivers from taking anyone else. To give them a better idea of what they're up against, Radius leads them all to the Steeple of the Sun, where the second son of Celeria is kept. Ages ago, Celeria was founded by the warrior queen Thea, who supposedly pulled the second son from the sacred spring of light, then forged the Ring of Celeria. She then attempted to spread her kingdom's light, beginning with the neighboring kingdom of Selenia. They believe that the rivers of the underworld, having once served under Queen Thea, want to finish her mission of conquest, and so they must protect the second son at any and all costs. Back at the Palace of Tartarus, Selina asks Acheron if he could teach her some dark magic in the meantime. Selina asks Acheron if he could teach her some of his powerful spells in the meantime, to which Acheron scoffs, saying Selina should be content with using her book to have others do her fighting for her. She then asks about her other part of the deal, granting her the true untold power of fantasy. Again, Acheron scoffs, saying that Selina is quite selfish. She should be grateful that Acheron decided to grant her magic, even despite her heritage, and her proclivity for lunar magic. If she truly wants the power of fantasy to fulfill her desires, she will have to wait until Acheron completes his mission. As he wanders off, Selina mumbles to herself, saying that this isn't what she imagined Acheron's freedom would look like. It isn't what he promised all those years ago in the Forest Flowers. Out of nowhere, Lethe swipes the Legendarium, saying that they've heard quite a bit about that place, saying they've heard quite a bit about this book and the infamous fairy godmother from Acheron. Selina summons the Legendarium back to her hand, saying this is her book and hers alone. In any case, she thanks Lethe for their abilities, as their Oblivion power helped her quite a bit, to which Lethe simply tilts their head in confusion. Selina then asks about the absence of the fifth river, Styx. Lethe can't quite remember, though Cocytus, wandering over, speaks as to how the Legendarium world can change a person. As a realm woven from the stories people tell, one can easily fall victim to their own delusions, or the delusions of others, detaching from reality and sinking into oblivion, or even becoming someone else entirely. She then warns Selina, noting how much sorrow and regret sits in her heart, that such pain even in the waking world can be a person's undoing. Back at the royal palace, the specialists stand on guard outside. Brandon and Riven are eager to get a shot at Acheron for presumably destroying the Winx, but Naboo isn't certain that they're gone. Timmy is inclined to agree, given the Winx have survived so much before. In any case, they all take this moment to remember the girls. Timmy wishes that he and Tekna got to make a game together. Helia wishes that he and Flora could have moved in together and maybe even started a family. Even though Riven sees Musa as just a friend, he still wishes that they could have written more music together. Naboo wishes that he and Aisha could have gone surfing or dancing like she wanted, but couldn't due to his condition. Brandon is about to say that he wishes he and Stella had finally gotten, then cuts himself off, blushing. The other specialists quickly catch on, all of them shocked from not knowing he and Stella were engaged. Riven asks, how long? And Brandon admits he popped the question right after one of their Gift of Destiny missions. When Naboo asks why Brandon kept quiet all this time, Brandon says that he and Stella were waiting for the right moment to share it, but with everything that came after, they never got the chance, and it's kind of been chaos ever since. And now he's not sure he'll ever have that day with her. Inside the palace, meanwhile, Radius sits in the throne room, going through an old family album as he tears up. Luna approaches, and they comment on the days they shared before their divorce. The day Stella was born, ironically right as both the sun and moon were rising. Her first day at rodeo camp, which neither of them expected her to love as much as she did. Radius recalls how much he regretted his treatment of Stella under Cassandra's manipulation, and he thought they were closer than ever when she saved him. And yet now he feels so far away from his daughter, and the thought of her being gone is horrifying to him. Luna shares her regrets as well. She'd been so distant from her daughter since the divorce, believing that Stella would rather be with Radius in the Kingdom of the Sun. She still hates herself for not reaching out during the whole engagement fiasco when Stella had been stripped of her title. But Luna believes that Stella is still out there, and she's going to need the both of her parents to be there for her. She isn't solely a child of the sun nor the moon, but of both. As Radius begins to understand, the guards raise the alarms as the Palace of Tartarus approaches. On Acheron's command, Selina hesitantly summons the Hyperion Guard once again. In addition, Acheron prompts her to summon Cerberus, a three-headed demon dog that the rivers tamed in the Legendarium world. One head is flaming, breathing solar flares, one is lunar, conjuring cosmic rays, and the third is made of shadow, wielding the power of darkness. While the rivers descend with their forces, Selina is ordered to stay behind, and Lethe is instructed to keep an eye on her. The rivers descend, letting the Hyperion Guard deal with the Solarian soldiers. The specialists attempt to stop them, only to be headed off by Cerberus. Selina is further frustrated with Acheron, and that frustration quickly turns to apprehension when Lethe tells her not to worry, since this isn't too different from how Acheron's treated any of the other Legendarium holders. Selina is confused, then says that Acheron told her that he hadn't had contact with anyone in reality since he was trapped in the Legendarium world. Realizing the lie, Selina decides to finally read Eldora's letter. She asks if Lethe is going to stop her, and is surprised that Lethe is actually curious about the letter's contents too. Inside the palace, Radius and Luna head to the Steeple of the Sun. Luna is concerned about Radius putting himself in harm's way, but Radius reminds her that his life is bound to that of the second sun. If it is threatened, so is he, and he might as well try to put up a fight for his kingdom. Acheron catches them off guard as he, Cocytus, and Phlegethon enter, saying that he's surprised by Radius' will, as he expected a weak king from the fact that he'd married a Selenian and tainted the royal bloodline. At least, until he corrected it. Before the rivers can attack, the Company of Light intercedes to fend them off. Faragonda battles Acheron, Griffin deals with Cocytus, and Saladin fights Phlegethon. With Phlegethon's fury, Saladin tries toying with him, provoking his anger to use his raw strength against him. Griffin, meanwhile, is put off by Cocytus wallowing, and is apt to show the rivers just what a proud witch is capable of. Faragonda, however, is struggling, as Acheron senses her woes and regrets and uses them against her. That she hasn't been there for her students due to the Lethe spell, that the Winx have fallen, and that Althea itself fell under her watch. Outside, the specialists continue fighting Cerberus. During the fight, Riven notes how aggressive the creature is, and Naboo notices scars along its body and tears in its ears. Helia suggests that Acheron must not have been the best dog owner, to which Brandon jokes that he sounds a lot like Flora right now. Brandon says having Roxy here to calm it down could have made this fight much easier. Still, Timmy has an idea, thinking back to that time the fairy pets were turned into monsters by the Black Circle. Riven jokes about turning the three-headed dog into a three-headed puppy, but Healy clarifies it's more about convincing Cerberus that they aren't enemies. Together, Naboo and Nex manage to hold off the creature while Riven sings a lullaby Musa taught him. And with that, Cerberus is soothed, though they do threaten to attack the specialists if they don't keep petting them. Back in the Palace of Tartarus, Selina discovers Eldora's letter, only to find it illegible from how crumpled up it is. Though she's dismayed, Lethe actually lends a hand here. Though they are the River of Oblivion, they do still have a power deep within from the Pool of Memory, Memezine, allowing them both to visualize Eldora's letter, and the emotions and memories associated with it, making it a far more visceral experience for Selina and deeply harrowing. After Hecate's defeat, Acheron took the Legendarium for himself, believing it could be used further for Celeria's conquest. However, when Queen Tea demanded it be destroyed, Acheron refused, secretly holding on to the tome and trying to uncover its secrets. In his desperation, he once again summoned Hecate, who had become a Legendarium world character, demanding she tell him how to use the book. Unfortunately for him, she managed to trick Acheron and the other rivers into sealing themselves inside the Legendarium world. Since then, the rivers have seethed in their resentment, becoming exponentially stronger and conquering portions of the Legendarium world. In the meantime, the Legendarium itself eventually found itself in the hands of a moon witch, whom Acheron manipulated into trying to free him, only for her to meet a terrible fate. This has repeated through the ages, with Acheron stringing along each Legendarium owner, promising them whatever their vulnerable hearts desired at the cost of their lives. Eldora warns Selina of his treachery and pleads with her not to let him take away her magic. We cut back to the palace, where the rivers manage to overpower the Company of Light. As Acheron prepares to take the second son's power, he's approached by Selina, who confronts him on his treachery. Acheron simply laughs, saying that he's grateful he no longer has to keep up his ruse. Selina summons the Legendarium, and when she says she's about to send them back to the Legendarium world, Acheron asks if she thinks she can truly do that. Selina hesitates, then finds herself unable to send them back. Acheron laughs again, calling her weak as he summons the Sword Ring of Celeria to attack her. Selina is barely able to keep up, while Acheron signals to the rivers that he wants to handle this himself. Selina yells about how she trusted Acheron and confided in him. She spent all that time trying to free him, and how all that means nothing to him. Acheron scoffs at the idea of Selina genuinely believing in his sincerity, as he believed that she was ingenuine as well, that she merely entertained their conversations for the promise of power, what she could get out of him, just like she's done with everyone else she's known. In any case, he bestowed magic upon her, and he can easily take it away, which he does. He takes her magic, crushes her crown into dust, and seals her away in the Legendarium as the specialist Company of Light and Royals watch. Acheron says he hopes she finds living in a world of fantasy a better existence, saying that he's actually indeed fulfilled his promise to her, then destroys the Legendarium. With that, Acheron pushes everyone aside with his newfound strength, becoming even stronger as he absorbs the light of the second sun. He notes that it feels just as cleansing as it was all those ages ago, sharing that light with the other rivers. Radius strangely doesn't seem to feel weak, as Acheron has spared him, giving him just enough of the sun's light to keep him alive, because he wants to see the Celerian dynasty witness a new age. With that, the rivers return to the Palace of Tartarus, leaving everyone behind. As in Acheron's words, they'll be burned away with the rest of the garbage soon. Episode 26, From Oblivion. We begin in Gardenia, where Bloom wakes up to find herself in her childhood bedroom. She's confused at first, then realizes she's late for work, saying goodbye to her parents before running down to Love and Pet, meeting up with the other Winx. Bloom seems aware something is off, especially when she goes to help Stella with shampooing the fairy pets, as Stella warns Bloom not to get her ring messy. Once Bloom notices the ring, Sky calls out to her and kisses her, asking if they're still on for their date. Bloom confirms, and once Sky leaves, the other Winx express excitement for Bloom and Sky's wedding, which Bloom goes along with, happy but clearly aware something is up. Out of her peripheral vision, she catches a glimpse of dark Bloom through the window, only for her to disappear when she looks. We then see that Bloom, as well as the other Winx, are all floating through Oblivion, just as the Tricks did when they were absorbed into the Legendarium's pages. Stella's dream entails her living in the royal palace of Celeria, enjoying a cozy life where her parents are still together. Her mother, however, goes along with whatever her father says, and neither of them seem to know what Selenia is when Stella brings it up, and her eyes glaze over as she's unable to repeat the name. Flora's dream has her living a cottagecore life with Helia on Linfea, though when Flora mentions her family and Saladin, Helia comments how they don't have any families, or friends for that matter. It's just them. Musa in her dream is a universe-renowned musician with several hit singles and platinum albums, though she never gets a moment to relax between releases or speak with her father. Her label, however, mentions how they've invited her parents to her next concert at the Golden Auditorium, and when Musa asks for clarification, they confirm her mother will be in attendance. Tecna has become a royal advisor to King Kryos and has finally received her parents' approval. Her dedication to pleasing them, however, leads her to having no friends, and when she sees Timmy, he doesn't recognize her. Aisha is at the Fruity Music Bar dancing with Naboo. When Aisha takes note of her missing friends, Naboo insists that it's just the two of them now, living on Earth in peace away from all the chaos. In Roxy's dream, she's back to her life before she met the Winx. She's never developed her magic, but when she asks about her mother, Klaus is confused, asking if Roxy is serious. He tells her to let the past go, and Roxy's eyes glaze over. Cutting back to Bloom's dream, her wedding day has already arrived, the celebration being held on Domino. Her fathers walk her down the aisle as Sky waits. As she walks, she is surrounded on all sides by everyone's praises, though one quiet voice catches her attention. As she turns, she again catches a glimpse of Dark Bloom. Before Bloom can even process this, she's continually pushed down the aisle as she nods along, her eyes glazing over. We cut to the other Winx, who are approaching the ends of their own fairy tales, but they each seem to sense something is wrong, hesitating at key moments. Stella is about to become queen, but must renounce her lunar magic to ascend the Solarian throne. Flora hears her friends in danger out in the forest, but Helia insists they stay put. Musa has finished her concert and is asked to dinner with her parents. Tecna is about to be fused with the techno-magic core of Zenith, stripping her of her humanity, but in her parents' words, making her the ideal rational entity. Naboo pops the marriage question to Aisha again, asking to live on Earth forever. And Roxy is approached by Ogron, who says he can return her mother if she surrenders her magic to him. Each of them hears the other Winx calling out for them in the distance, fighting the temptation to stay within their perfect dreams. Bloom looks to Sky, and before she can say I do, she realizes Sky's eyes are also glazed over, as are everyone else's. She says this isn't right and runs off. At this moment, all the other Winx turn back from the objects of their desire, and they all break free, reuniting as they float through Oblivion. Once they reunite, they recap what's happened to them. Naturally, Stella starts to freak out about whether they could be dead, but Tecna asserts that they're very much still alive, and they've narrowly avoided fading away entirely. Flora and Musa assume this must mean Selina has turned on Acheron, using this as a last-ditch effort to save them, though Tecna, Aisha, and Roxy are hesitant to believe this. Stella is conflicted, as is Bloom. But before they can leave, Bloom senses something calling out to her. Deeper within Oblivion, she finds a prison surrounded by smoke and dark purple flames. Inside is Dark Bloom, who has been trapped here since the Witch Queen ritual. Bloom forces her way through the fire, and Dark Bloom is surprised to see her light counterpart going out of her way to save her. To which Bloom says that she is a part of her too. She needs her darkness if she's going to truly be herself. And so she frees Dark Bloom and reabsorbs her, which creates her Ardoric's weapon, the Blade of Twin Flames. Naturally, it's a dragon-themed sword inspired by her father Oratel's sword, which can split into two halves, one of light and one of darkness. Once that's done, a passage opens for them. Passing through, the Winx find themselves in a gnarled forest under a starry, aurora-filled sky. Once they reach a cliffside, they find a surreal, dreamlike landscape before them that is ever shifting. This platform sits atop a branch. Many other islands float atop a seemingly infinite number of branches in all directions, all leading back to one giant tree. Techna's magic can't pinpoint where they are geographically. Stella says that shouldn't be very shocking, given they're clearly in the Legendarium world. In any case, they need to find their way back to the real world to stop Acheron before it's too late.